How's it going, you guys? AZPlow21 back with more WMMA 5 in our UFC save, and here tonight we have Poirier versus Hooker. Our first fight night coming off the heels of our first pay-per-view, Khabib versus Ferguson, and a lot of thoughts I have about the actual UFC 249 as well. Um, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get into that after the fight night. We'll talk about Ferguson versus Gaethje in a little bit, but first let's take care of our business as we always do. But the first thing I noticed when I got to Saturday is BJ Penn retired. So BJ Penn had I think it was an indie fight, and he won against Bill Algeo. You love to see it because he was on quite a losing streak, but then he called it a day. 41 years of age, 17, 14, and 2 is his final record. Not the best, but BJ Penn is always going to be a legend of the sport. So congratulations to him. Hope he finds something else to do in life. BJ Penn, have a great retirement. Got a couple other fight cards going on tonight. Invicta is having a fight card. That's always going to be interesting to see. And the reason for that is Invicta's our child promotion. And while we're not, directly invested in Invicta and like controlling it like we might be down the line, it's going to be interesting to see like what kind of champions come out of these fight cards, like what kind of other things happen, like Alicia Zabatella versus Amber Brown. See, we don't have an atomweight division, but I wouldn't put it past these girls to be able to fight in the strawweight division. She's 4'11". Wow, she's shredded too. Her name is Half Pint. Wow, that's that's pretty crazy. But I mean, yeah, so she can fight in the strawweight division. I don't know how successful she would be, Amber or Alicia Sabatella, but I mean she can, and she's fighting for the Atomweight Championship against Amber Bully Brown, 7-4, number 8 Atomweight in the world. So let's see, Kyra Batara, I know her. Bagger Die, Marina Shafir, of course, who's actually in NXT, in the WWE, I should say, in NXT. But anyways, a lot of other fight nights, LFA, KOTC, Bob Sapp retires. That's crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and check our emails before we get into the fight night. Callie Robbins has actually failed weight. Okay, so what was supposed to be her weight class? Straw weight. It says that her best weight is at straw weight. Her walking weight is 125. Her max weight is 135. So let's go ahead and just put her in the flyweight division. We can always use more fighters there. But if she loses, we might just end up cutting her because she's 5-2, I believe. Yeah, she's 5-2, so not the best record. No fights in the UFC as of late, but I mean, 5-3, and then missing weight, not the best look. So we might be getting rid of Robbins if she loses here today. A couple guys re-signed their deals. You love to see that. All right, let's make sure that we're putting this on television. Want to get as much money as possible, considering, remember, a lot of these guys are still on their default contracts, so we're going to be losing quite a bit of money for some of these guys, just because, I mean, I'm pretty sure Poirier is making a shit ton of money. I can almost guarantee that it's not going to be the money that we have to pay him, down the line, but it's a lot for right now, considering the fact that we don't have all the finances in the world, Put this on Rede Globo. Teletica Canal 7. I can't wait till we can start up the UFC network. It'll just make growing the company so much easier. It'll make making money so much easier. But the thing is, I have to make money before I can do it, And a lot of that is going to be. Okay, and okay, cool. Because a lot of that is just going to be, booking really popular cards and making sure that all my popular fighters are fighting on the pay-per-view so we can make as much money as possible. But also, having some decent fight nights as well. The thing is, when I do international fight cards, as far as these ESPN Plus cards, the popularity of the fighters in the main event will not have to be that significant. But the thing is, early on, I want to get, fight cards, have some good main events, on these fight cards, but also I want to make sure that everyone kind of gets a fight in as soon as possible, just so I can kind of see where the divisions stand, because that kind of makes things a lot more exciting for me just because I can see where everybody's at. Because otherwise, if I'm just holding on to people for pay-per-views, they're going to be waiting like 6 months for a fight, And everyone wants to get a fight in. So, better off we just, get some good cards in. Like this Arizona card is going to be amazing. Poirier, Hooker, Rodriguez, Zabit, Wonderboy Thompson versus Ponzinibbio, Andre Arlovsky's on the card, Michael Johnson's on the card, and then a good women's bantamweight fight as well. Okay, so we've taken care of our emails. We've put it on TV. I can't necessarily think of anything else we could do. Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. UFC on ESPN Plus, Poirier versus Hooker. All right. Of course, we are in Arizona as we get things going with the prelims. Of course, let me know down in the comments section below who you think is going to win before we advance any further. Do you think it's going to be Dustin Diamond Poirier, or do you think it's going to be Dan Hooker? First prelim sees Callan Potter take on Zelim Imadaev. I think Callan Potter was on that Adesanya fight card. I can't be 100% sure. Yep, Whitaker versus Adesanya. And then he was on Felder versus Hooker. So he's actually fought rather recently. Yeah, he has. Maki Pitolo he beat, and then he lost to Keenan Song. So he's got quite a few fights in the UFC. 35 years old, taking on Zelim Imadaev. I'm going to go ahead and take the youngster just because he's a little bit younger, I figure he probably has a little bit something over the older gentleman in Callan Potter. And he didn't. He loses via TKO, 35 seconds into round number 2. So very good for Mr. Potter. All right. Next, we have Shavkat Rakhmonov taking on Stefan Negugic. The Serbian versus the Kazakhstani. Both undefeated, so it's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to take a bet here. Maybe the guy with the better record, 12-0. As it is Rakhmonov who wins and keeps his record at 13-0 at the welterweight division. 6-1, 13-0. Now his record looking pretty good. Wins via rear naked choke. All right, moving on. We have Kamil Onishuk. I hope that I said that right. Taking on Maxim Shvets, Polish guy versus a Ukrainian. I'm going to take the undefeated fighter, just 23 years of age as well. You'd love to see it if he won. And he can't. 18-3, Maxim Shvets gives Onishuk his first loss of his career. And both guys were debuting, so you'd like to see that. Up next, we have Claudia Ray taking on Asuna Tsunami Randveg, David's daughter. Whose daughter? David's daughter. So just 3-0 at 34 years of age versus 6-0. I'm going to go ahead and pick Claudia Ray here, 4 inches in height advantage, as well as a little bit more experience. But you never know, as it's actually Claudia Ray who takes it via split decision. So it was a pretty even fight. And I think we're going to send down David's daughter to Invicta. 3-1, not the best record. Kind of wanted to get a little bit more seasoning. We did, of course, sign her, but we're going to go ahead and send her down to Invicta and see if she can't get a couple wins under her belt down there. All right, next we have Svetlana Gotsik. Of course, this is the girl who missed weight in Callie Robbins. And it looks like Svetlana might be favored as well, despite the fact that her opponent missed weight. I'm going to go for Gotsik here. She's a pretty girl, 5'2", taking on a 5'3" Callie Pop-Tart Robbins. I'm going to go for Gotsik here. She does win, and that does mean we're going to have to cut Robbins, missing weight and also losing. So we're going to go ahead and cut her. Split decision victory, but good for Phoenix Gotsik. And she's happy that she can win her debut fight. Ricky Simon taking on Yadong Song. Great name. 15-3, taking on 15-4, 1-1. Pretty even fight, 2 pretty young guys. I'm going to go for Ricky Simon here. Of course, Ricky Simon's the guy who fought against Uriah Faber in his comeback fight, and he takes it via unanimous decision here. Pretty good win for Ricky Simon. As I think we have our last prelim fight, Jim Crute taking on Ryan Superman Spann. Now, I mentioned UFC 249 a little bit earlier. Let's go ahead and talk about Ryan Spann. He won his fight. Crap. Why can't I remember who he fought? Against Sam Alvey. He won his fight versus Sam Alvey. He won it, I think it was via split decision. And it was not the most exciting fight. He kind of went after it. He had a pretty good chance of winning it early on. He had, I want to say it was a standing arm triangle in round number 1, and he just squeezed the shit out of that arm triangle. He tried to end it early, and I think it was because he squeezed so much that he just kind of tired himself out, because for the rest of the fight, he looked very sluggish, as did Alvey. But he ended up doing just enough to win. So very good job. Good for Ryan Spann. As far as this game, however, it does look like Jim Crute, the young prospect out of Australia, might be a little bit too much for him. So let's go ahead and see. As no, in fact, knocking him out in round 1, Ryan Superman Spann gives Jim Crute just his second loss of his career. So very good for Spann getting 2 wins in this weekend's time. And so the first main card fight is underway. It's Sarah McMahon taking on Yana Kunitskaya, both title challengers in the UFC during the time that they've been here. I'm going to go, they both have the same record at 12-5. I think, Sarah McMahon's wrestling might be a little bit too much for Kunitskaya, who's a Sambo fighter. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take McMahon, as it is McMahon via unanimous decision. A rather boring fight, but it is what it is. All right, she praises Kunitskaya for a tough fight. Up next, we have a veteran of the UFC, Michael Johnson, taking on another veteran in Francisco Trinaldo. And Michael Johnson actually, the underdog here against Trinaldo, 41 years of age. And look at that record, 19-15. Always an entertaining fighter, and a guy who gives it his all is Michael Johnson. But it lends credence to that one line that Kevin Lee had against Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, he talked about he want to kill motherfucker, he got 30 fights, he done lost half of them. I mean, look at his record. He's not lying. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and take Michael Johnson for the upset. 41 years of age. I mean, you never know, but we'll see. As it is Michael Johnson. Good for Michael. Get some claps for Michael. Underdog, able to get that 20th win of his career, and he wins via split decision. It was a pretty good fight, apparently, as well. And he wants to fight Mason Jones next. So that's a pretty young UK prospect that he wants to take on, taking his gatekeeping job pretty seriously. Up next, Andrei Arlovsky taking on Marcos Pizarro Rogerio de Lima. 17-6-1 taking on 28-19-2. 2-inch height advantage for Arlovsky. It's a lot to say. Of course, the former UFC heavyweight champion. I'm going to go ahead and pick him to win, as it's actually Rogerio de Lima beating him in 31 seconds via knockout. That might be a performance of the night bonus for de Lima. A 31-second knockout. Very impressive, as Arlovsky is only getting older. Up next, a very good fight, and one that I'd be very excited for. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. Both kickboxers in their own right. More of a karate fighter is Wonderboy, but oh well. 1 inch taller at the welterweight division. 15-4-1 against 27-3. I mean, Wonderboy. I'm a big Wonderboy fan, but it looks like Ponzinibbio is favored a little bit more here. I think Ponzinibbio is going to end up taking it, but I mean, big Wonderboy fan, so I hope he wins. And no, 28 seconds into round number 3, Santiago Ponzinibbio wins via TKO. Very unfortunate for my boy Wonderboy, but Santiago climbing his way into the welterweight rankings. He was ranked for a while, and then I think he just got hurt, and then they just took him out of the rankings. It was very weird, and gives a little bit of respect to Wonderboy. You love to see it. All right, now a fight that has a lot of influence on the featherweight division. Yair Rodriguez taking on Zabit Magomedsharipov. 13-2 taking on 18-1. It looks like Zabit is the favored fighter. Of course, Yair having a couple of fights with Jeremy Stevens in the past year. Had that knockout of Korean Zombie. And then Zabit coming off his win over Calvin Kattar. Of course, beating Jeremy Stevens himself. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, Yair doesn't have a fight team apparently, and that can prove costly. In this game, at least. I mean, a lot of guys can get by without having necessarily a fight team, but in this game, you need some sort of direction, some sort of fight team to do, good. So, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and take Zabit to win this fight. And he does. TKO in round number 3 via body kick. Yikes. So Yair might have caught one to the liver as Zabit wins against Mr. Rodriguez, number 4 in the featherweight division, and a pretty good win there. Maybe one more win away from a championship fight for Mr. Magomed Sharapov. All right, and now we are at our main event of the evening. Dustin the Diamond Poirier taking on Dan Hangman Hooker. Once again, really quickly, leave your comments down below who you think is going to win. Only 31 years of age is Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Dan Hooker, 30 years of age, 20-8, taking on 25-6-1. Of course, Dan Hooker having himself a pretty good couple of years. Had that loss to Edson Barbosa in December of 2018, but then getting wins over James Vick, Al Iaquinta, and Paul Felder. And for Dustin Poirier, of course, coming off the loss to Khabib, but before that, beating Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, and Anthony Pettis. All right. Let's go ahead and get things started. I'm going to go ahead and take Dustin. I think, he's a seasoned veteran, might have just a little bit too much for Dan Hooker, but, I mean, that remains to be seen. So let's go ahead and take a look. Referee is Herb Dean. Both fighters coming together and striking. It's going to be a pretty interesting fight to see if it just stays, standing up, or if Dustin uses a little bit of his wrestling and some of his jiu-jitsu. And remember, after this, we're going to talk a little bit about UFC 249, not too much. Don't want to waste your guys' time. I'm sure the majority of you guys have already, watched, so a lot of you aren't necessarily going to be interested in what I have to say about MMA, but I mean, hey, why not talk about it a little bit? I need to get it off my chest because a lot of things happened. Hooker scores with a jab, misses with a right hook. Poirier landing a right cross. Only 1 minute left to go in round number 1. Not the most exciting first round. Hooker lands a left hand. As round 1 ends, and apparently it was a round for Dustin Poirier. Come on, let's go ahead and see a knockout. Something exciting. Doesn't look like we've had very many exciting fights on this card, which is very unfortunate, considering the quality of or on paper, the quality of the fights that should have happened, especially that Wonderboy Thompson fight. Apparently it was pretty good because it ended in TKO, Ponzinibbio getting a pretty good win. But, I mean, this fight right here has a lot of influence on the lightweight division. I mean, Poirier would need at least another win before you could be in title contention, but getting a win over Dan Hooker, that'd be amazing for him. The same could be said for Hooker, who, I mean, if he wins, puts himself right in that upper echelons of contention for a title shot. Counter with a left hand. Hooker off target. And round 2 ends. And apparently Poirier is up 20-18. So Hooker might need a finish at some point. Poirier might just be pointing his way to a victory. Poirier slowing down just a little bit. A little bit of fatigue maybe. Both these guys, very young men. Hooker lands a 1-2. Poirier lands a 1-2. And now Hooker's cut underneath his eye. Big round hand. Powerful left hook. Hooker is knocked down. Poirier quickly pounces. Barely able to defend himself. And Dustin the Diamond Poirier wins via TKO in round number 3. So I think it was a right hook that got him. So Hooker misses with a big right hand, allowing Poirier to counter with a right jab and a powerful left hook. All right, then he got knocked down, and then boom, punches away at him. Hooker can't defend himself. Herb Dean stops the fight. 2 minutes, 55 seconds into round number 3. Your winner via TKO, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And with a 4-inch height disadvantage as well. And he said he wants Khabib. I don't know about that, Dustin. You need at least one more win before you can get Khabib again. attendance of 1,000 or so in Arizona. So we're only going to get, more popular as um, as the company, gets more popular, goes into like international territory. 73 critical rating, 75 commercial rating. Put it on TV. Only made 171,000 at the gate. I'd imagine we're going to lose quite a bit of money because I'm guessing Wonder Boy's on a lot of money. Arlovsky's obviously on a lot of money. Michael Johnson's probably on a lot of money. Poirier's on a shit ton of money probably. No popularity changes. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here, see what we want to be fight of the night as and whatnot. Let's see here. Fight of the night. We'll go ahead and get fight of the night to Poirier versus Hooker. As for performances of the night, we're going to give one to Marcos Rogerio de Lima for that 31-second knockout of Andrei Arlovsky. And let's see here. Anyone on the prelims? Whose life can we change? Ryan Spann, maybe? Knockout in 57 seconds? Or Maxim Shvets for his knockout in 3 minutes? I'm going to go ahead and give it to Ryan Spann. Under a minute, knockout over a ranked opponent. That's pretty deserving. All right. There we go. So yeah, we lost $1.3 million on this card, and if we can get those gate receipts up, we can start making a little bit more money, and get those ads and subs up. That sponsorship as well, that might help out, and some of that might just be us increasing our facilities, and so I'll go ahead and take a look at that, see if I can get that stuff up right now as well, because those stability and credibility increases, they might be able to help as far as the popularity of your company and whether or not people are able to or are willing to watch your programming. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at our emails, and then we'll talk about UFC 249. That's the thing. It's just you need to find a way to make money, and you can't do that unless you're getting popular, and you can't be getting more popular unless you're putting on good shows that people really want to see. And the only chance we're really going to be able to have to do that is if a lot of people are watching, and putting it behind a paywall is definitely not going to help, which is kind of why I don't think the sport's going to be able to grow, under ESPN Plus, if you're going to put it on ESPN, that's great, but the prelims are getting put on ESPN, but not the main fights, you're putting it behind a paywall, you're telling people you have to pay $10 a month to watch the fights, which, is understandable. And it'd be great if it was like the WWE Network where the pay-per-views could be seen for $10 a month as well, but that's just not happening, like they're charging $65 for every pay-per-view, which I, reluctantly paid for, but it was kind of just because it was the first mixed martial arts show in nearly 2 months. That's crazy to think about. But yeah, nearly 2 months, because I went to the Adesanya fight in early March, so yeah. It's crazy. Crazy times to live in. Hope you guys are all doing okay. Hope you guys are all staying safe and whatnot. While we're waiting for this to load, might as well talk a little bit about UFC 249. So we already mentioned the Spann-Alvey fight. Of course, Ryan Spann winning. And then immediately after that, we had another early prelim, and it was Bryce Mitchell taking on Charles Rosa in what was a grappling fight for the entire 15 minutes. But it was amazing because Bryce Mitchell absolutely dominated Charles Rosa. It was crazy because Charles Rosa's a jiu-jitsu black belt, and Bryce Mitchell nearly got another twister finish. He went for it a buttload of times. Wasn't able to get it in, but just dominated Charles Rosa for the entire fight. Just ridiculous how in control he was of him for the entirety of the fight. So good for Bryce Mitchell, and he's gonna get his camo shorts. I know he's been having a little feud with Reebok because he's been wanting, camo shorts to fight in, and apparently he's gonna get them. So that's pretty funny. At the ESPN prelims, Vicente Luque took on Nico Price, and he won via TKO in round number 3. A pretty crazy fight, really good. It was a rematch between these two welterweights, and Luque just was sharper overall. Was just landing more. He was a little bit more technical than Nico Price. Nico Price is a crazy dude and a great fighter, but Luque was just a better fighter on this day, just like that he was back when he defeated him back in the day. It's pretty good visual though watching Nico Price when they're announcing Luque as the winner. He has a massive cut on his eye, and that's the reason that they stopped it. And you can just take a look at it, and it's ridiculous to see just how big it was swelling up. Next, Carla Esparza defeated Michelle Watterson via split decision. Karate Hottie. I kind of thought Karate Hottie might have won, but I think Carla Esparza just outpointing her towards the end of it, using her reach, using her height a little bit more just to kind of take control of the fight. I thought Karate Hottie might have won, but I mean, it is what it is. Next, a fight that was probably the most boring fight of the entire afternoon. And it sucks because it was a former UFC champion involved in it. So Fabricio Verdum came back, and he's about 42 years old. And he fought against Alexei Oleinik, who's, I believe, in the top 10 now. But Oleinik won via split decision. Weird, because I did not have Fabricio Verdum winning any of the rounds. But at the first crack of the bell, Oleinik almost had Verdum stopped. He just kind of went at him for the first 2 minutes. I think he had him rocked in the very beginning, and then he just started swinging. It was ridiculous. And then he kind of got tired, and then both guys got tired, as heavyweights do. And then the rest of it was kind of Verdum was able to get some of his grappling in. He was able to get a takedown or two, but so at the end of the day, Oleinik won that fight. And then Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. So Anthony Pettis beat Cowboy via unanimous decision. I thought it might have gone the other way. All 3 judges saw in favor of Pettis. But Cowboy Cerrone had a pretty good fight himself. Cerrone was kind of the aggressor early on, but as the fight got later into the rounds, you could definitely see Pettis was a little bit more technical, definitely a little sharper than Cowboy, and I think he did well enough to win. All right, let's go ahead and check our emails now. We talked about the prelims. We can talk about the main card after we're all done there. It looks like injury. Oh boy. Injury sidelines Alexander Volkanovski. News is coming in that an injury sustained during training means Alexander Volkanovski will now not be fighting at UFC 250. What is the injury? On the market, Josh Berkman, no. Oh, boy. Let's take a look at that. What is the injury? Is it bad enough? Is it super bad? A medium elbow injury. How long is he out for? 2 months. 2 months. See, the thing is, I'm thinking about what I could put on that card, but I'm probably going to have to pay someone a lot of money to have their fight moved up. See, because I'm thinking, okay, let's see if anyone needs to have their everyone says they want to fight Max Holloway. I'm sure that you do. Anybody on here that makes sense? No one really that makes sense. So Imadaev, let's see, 0-3 in the UFC. Yeah, you can F off. Get good. Callan Potter on a winning streak. We'll go ahead and keep him. Get you a couple more fights, sir. on significantly less money, but hey, it is what it is. And Rakhmonov, who's coming off a win. Let's get him. Let's get him back in here. Let's give you 4 fights, young man. All right, Trinaldo. What are we going to do about Trinaldo? The veteran, coming off a loss, but he's got a couple wins before that. We'll go ahead and keep Francisco Trinaldo. He'll probably be here for the remainder of his time fighting, to be honest. A good hand to keep around. Arlovsky needs to be renewed. He lost. He got knocked out, as a matter of fact. And he's on a little bit of a losing streak, but we'll go ahead and keep him. He's got low-level nationals, so it'd be good to hold on to him. We'll give him 3 fights. Remember, once everyone starts getting a little bit more popular, low-level national, we can afford to release, but not right now. Dan Hooker, of course, we're going to keep him coming off that loss, but still definitely going to need him. All right, Sarah McMahon coming off a win. We'll go ahead and re-sign her. Give her all 5 of those fights. Women's division. Go ahead and keep her around for a while. Low-level national. You'd love to see that as well. Chaz Skelly lobbies for fights. And then TV Tokyo. Let's just go ahead and renew that right now. All right. Going to renegotiate that deal with TV Tokyo. And so now, that's in like 3 weeks. 3 weeks, but that's crazy. Anybody ranked? Nobody's ranked. So Brian Ortega, 20 days, but that's not nearly enough time. Zabitz, 34 days. I mean, after that, no one really deserves a title fight. So, I mean, do I make this for an interim championship between Ortega and move it back a pay-per-view? And maybe move one of those pay-per-view fights up? I could do that. I could also just put a fight here. Miocic Cormier. See, but Miocic Cormier would probably have to main event. And then it would F everything up. Simply because McGregor Gaethje has to be on this card. And then Adesanya Costa has to be on this card. Availability. Who's available right now? There's a lot of quick camp fighters. So a lot of people would be willing to fight, but is there any fights that are like main card worthy to where I could just cancel the fight? Let's see, we got Greg Hardy. I could just do Jones Blachowicz. It'd be a quick camp. They would definitely want some money. He would want an extra 3.8. Oh my God. He would want it nearly another $500,000. And then Blachowicz will want an extra 58,000. I can't do that. Simply because I want to make a profit on the pay-per-view, and I can't do that. Jones Blachowicz will have to be saved for another pay-per-view. Andrew Sanchez, Joe Bond, Bobby Green. No. Ryan Hall, mid-level national. Ryan Hall, what about you? Have you called anybody out or anything like that? Current challenges, no. Is there anybody ranked for you to fight right now in the featherweight division? What's your deal? Drug suspension? Good for you. Arnold Allen. 48 days. Carter Lamas, 2 months. Yikes. Du Ho Choi, potential main event. They already fought. Oh yeah, they literally just fought. Strong main event. Chaz Skelly. Hakeem Dawodu. Nah, I want to kind of not protect Dawodu, but build him up a little bit. This looks like a good one, though. Let's go ahead and do this. Ryan Hall versus Chad Skelly. I mean, it's not going to be the best, but it says it can be a strong main event. These guys are both on a little bit of momentum. Mid-level international, it says. So, oh, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, not for the light heavyweight championship. And it still says it'll be a strong main event. Let me just go ahead and make sure. Yeah, it still says strong main event. Yep. Extra 19K, that's fine. Extra 16K, that's fine. Let me just make sure there's no one more popular than Ryan Hall. Low level regional, high level regional. Weili Zhang. Who is she supposed to defend against? Rose? Who's probably not ready. Ooh, recuperating 6 days? No, we can't do that on a week's notice, though. We can't. No. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and do that fight then. So Ryan Hall, Chaz Skelly. And then, unfortunately, this is going to have to be canceled. I mean, it's still a pretty strong card on the prelims. Low-level national. Low-level international. High-level regional. I mean, because it's Jose Aldo, we'll move him up to the main card because he'll sell. Even though the reason I did that was to kind of punish him. Like that. That works. Cool. That's funny. Vicente Lica, we literally just booked that. That's the fight that literally just happened, and we booked it as well. That's awesome. All right. So we fixed that. That sucked that we had to, go about fixing all of that. Kind of made the video a little bit longer too. But so that's all we really needed to take care of. Of course, our next episode we are going to be doing UFC on ESPN Plus Fight Night, Cerrone versus Oliveira, Cowboy versus Cowboy 2. I might change the title of that. In Colorado, in Cowboy Cerrone's hometown. So yeah, taking on Cowboy for the second time. And you can take a look at the fight card there. But now let's go ahead and let's talk about the main card of UFC 249, starting out with Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro. Greg Hardy won via unanimous decision. Yorgan De Castro looked like he was chopping at Greg Hardy's legs for the entire fight. But at a point, he just kind of stopped doing anything. And I think De Castro may have messed up his leg. I think he checked a kick or something like that. And because De Castro just stopped moving after a while. And Greg Hardy was able to get the decision out of it. So congratulations to him. It'll be interesting to see who they match him up against next. Next up, we have Calvin Kattar versus Jeremy Stephens. And Calvin Kattar knocked out Jeremy Stephens. A very good showing for the guy out of Boston, Calvin Kattar. A lot of people don't like Jeremy Stephens, so very cathartic to watch him get knocked out. As Little Heathen certainly did not have the best of nights. And the winner via KO is Calvin Kattar. An even quicker knockout, literally 20 seconds into round number 1, Francis Ngannou defeated Rosenstrike. Just Rosenstrike got a couple leg kicks in, thought he was going to be technical about it, and then Ngannou literally just bum rushed him and then just knocked Jairzinho the F out. Just ridiculous. And then the co-main event of the evening, Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz for the Bantamweight Championship of the World. Henry Cejudo wins via TKO with just 2 seconds left to go in round 2. Very controversial stoppage. Dominic Cruz he got kneed in the face pretty hard. He was getting pieced up, but he was on his way to his feet, and the round was super close to ending, but the referee called it. And I honestly think it was a pretty okay stoppage, but the thing is, the round was just about to end. Dominic was kind of getting on his feet. It looks pretty iffy, but it is what it is. Right after the fight, after the Triple C gets his crown once again, he retires. So Henry Cejudo is apparently retired. I don't know if it's a thing for more money. I don't know if he's for real about wanting to, to start a family and whatnot. If it is, good for him, going out on top the way that he wanted to. But it sucks because I want to see more of Henry Cejudo. I want to see him defend his title against guys like Jan, against Sandhagen, against Sterling. Just like, he's defending it against Sterling in this game save. So it sucks, but it is what it is. Good for Henry Cejudo. Curious to see what happens with Dominic Cruz now. Does he go back to just broadcasting? He's been blaming the ref of like smelling like beer and cigarettes. Ugh. Whatever. It is what it is. And then our main event of the evening, Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. This fight got to the 5th round, but it was almost practically domination for the majority of the fight. Justin Gaethje defeating Tony Ferguson via TKO in round number 5. And it sucks because now we're more than likely never going to see Tony Ferguson fight Khabib Nurmagomedov in real life. Justin Gaethje is now the interim lightweight champion and surely has a date with Khabib. He just dominated Tony Ferguson, just simple as that. I thought he might have tired himself out in like round 2 or 3, but he was able to kind of get his composure back. His cardio has stood firm, and he won. And Tony Ferguson never looked more human. Kind of looked like a shell of himself. Not sure if cutting weight twice in a month had anything to do with it, but he just didn't look good. His corner didn't really help him out. Justin Gaethje's corner really helped him out, reminding him that he got stopped the last time, that he got too comfortable and kind of started feeling himself a little bit. But, Justin Gaethje, your new interim champion, and definitely going to fight Khabib next, and I'm excited for it. And I hope you guys are excited for the rest of this game save. Of course, once again, our next timeout is Cowboy versus Cowboy 2. Be sure to check in for that. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click on the bell there on the screen so that way you guys can get notifications whenever my videos go live. AZPlow21 signing off. I'll see you guys on the next episode on the next fight night. Have a good night, everybody.